Russia today is mainly run on money from oil, gas, and defense industries. And people say most money are being stashed by the oligarchs in London and Swiss banks instead of being reinvested to diversify and benefit the Russian economy. Is Putin corrupt man, or is he really a nationalist? Is Russia being slowly hollowed out? Well, good question. Now, when you talk about oligarchy, the USA is the biggest oligarchy. It is big tech and the billionaires or the trillionaires who run everything. There are no trillionaires yet, but a significant portion of the value or the money or the wealth in the US is in the hands of a very, very small number of people. The US is the most unequal country in the world, whether we realize it or not. It's a great place to live in if you are rich and if you have a great income. It's a terrible place for the poor. You have no idea of the homelessness and the misery that the poor experience in the US. So we see the US through rose tinted glasses because Indians tend to do well there, but it's not a great place for someone who is not rich. Now, when it comes to oligarchy, yes, Russia is using that model. Vladimir Putin is using that model. See, Vladimir Putin is very clear about the fact that he doesn't believe in democracy. It's Russia is not a democracy. It doesn't even pretend to be one. It's just a show, a facade that it puts on, as kind of a joke, as kind of a taunt to the world that see, we have this election every few years and Vladimir Putin always wins. It has no pretenses to democracy. What Vladimir Putin is doing essentially is he's resuscitating the Russian Empire. That's what he is doing. So he's essentially the Tsar of Russia, the new Tsar. The same way that Xi Jinping is the Emperor of China, right? They do not believe in democracy. They do not see that democracy is the right solution or the right system for their culture. And I don't see anything wrong with that approach. And the imperial system of Russia was always like this. A few people who run the country, right? The Tsar and his ministers and his favored industrialists who run the country and deal with take care of business, and very strong economy and very strong, not economy, very strong military. So that is the imperial model of Russia, and that's precisely what Vladimir Putin has recreated. Is Russia being hollowed out? I don't see Russia being hollowed out. Russia is actually increasing in prosperity compared to where it was in the 1990s, right? He's basically arrested the slide of Russia. People used to have long queues for fuel and food in the 90s. Today, people are happy, are at least much happier than before. There's always this protests for democracy that are engineered by the West, but democracy is not something that's in the blood or the DNA of the Russian people, right? They are perfectly happy with an imperial system, with a Tsar system. So that's what's happening in Russia. Yes, some people are getting really rich, but overall the standards are improving and the country is more secure than before. It has a very powerful military. It has a reasonably good economy. If you look at the kind of population Russia has, and it has stable borders. It is pursuing its national interests, and it is so that's what's happening. So I would say that Putin is definitely a nationalist. And is he corrupt? Well, I don't know what definition of corrupt to use, but he's very straightforward about what he's doing. He's quite transparent about, and he is unapologetic about what he's doing. So that's why he is so widely admired among certain sections of the world, right? So that's what's happening under Mr. Putin in Russia.